Hey, Dr. Moore, thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me, Emily.
Yeah. So just to give a little background of Dr. Moore and how I know him, Dr. Moore was my teacher for homeopathy for 3 years. We spent a lot of Saturday mornings together, clinic, and Friday nights studying homeopathy. And then also 2 years of herbal medicine. So he has a lot of great knowledge in these areas of homeopathy, herbal medicine. He's a naturopath, acupuncturist, Ayurvedic practitioner, minister. So he's written books on herbal medicine, the classic formulas of those, and grew up around medicine. And you're not a first gen medicine man, if I could give you that title. So there is a lot of knowledge in your brain and also history and the history of medicine. And so I thought it would be great to start this summit off with you because you have so much knowledge in so many areas and have a practical approach. And not just that, but you also were 12 years at Clifton Springs Hospital consulting traditional medicine doctors and to treat patients and treating patients in the hospital with alternative methods. So you have this broad perspective of not only traditional medicine. I get confused on what terms I'm using here, right? So conventional medicine, right? So you have that, you've worked side by side with conventional medicine doctors, but you have this alternative medicine, which I think is the traditional medicine because it goes back. There are actual traditions that go back and back and back. And you like the tried and true. I know that. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I want you to tell me what I forgot because I'm sure I forgot something and so then we'll get into the questions about today that we're going to today.
Well, you got it there. We had some good classes there in homeopathy and botanical medicine.
Yeah.
It was very enjoyable. I do practice naturopathic medicine and acupuncture and homeopathy right there in Bushnell's Basin in Pittsburgh. I have an office there, and I've been there about 5 years, maybe a little over that. And prior to that, I was 12 years as a director of integrative medicine at Clifton Springs Hospital, where you had a full natural pharmacy, homeopathic pharmacy, botanical. It was had everything that you needed in it, and we had the mineral springs in there also for hydrotherapy. And then I was at F.F. Thompson prior to that. So yes, I do like to use the natural medicine. And my dad, he was also an herbalist, so I learned from him before I went to naturopathic medical school and Chinese medical school and so forth.
Yeah, I know. I found you originally because you're on a website for the Lavender Festival, and I saw the wall of herbs behind you, and I knew I had to go there. That's how it all started.
Yeah, the Lavender festivals are good. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So today we're here because there's this crazy thing going on in the world right now called COVID-19. And it's this virus that is spreading around the world and nobody really understands it yet. They're not really sure how to handle it. And so what are they doing? They're buying toilet paper, right? So
yes.
I'm not sure if that's a medical recommendation somewhere, but I haven't read it. So to give my perspective, I do not watch the news. I have not watched the news in probably 15 years or more. I get a little bit of news here and there. I see it through social media. If there's something really big going on, like right now, I might tune in for a little bit. But I prefer to get my information from people that I trust, like yourself and the other people I'm going to interview in the summit. And so when I have a health issue or something going on, I contact those people that I trust for this information. And so this summit is to give everyone access to those people and give them good information so that you don't have to panic. You can be empowered to take charge of your health, not just through this instance right now, but every day. So, so I'd like to hear your ideas on what is going on right now and why the panic. And I'm guessing you would say too, we don't need to panic as much as everybody else is. There are things we can do. So.
Right. Well, thanks for doing this, and it'll be informative. You've got multiple people that you're interviewing to help people make an informed decision. The big thing that's going on right now is the fear and the panic.
Yes.
Which it's overwhelming a lot of people. I know because I get the calls in, I get the questions. It just keeps going. And like you, I haven't watched the news for over a decade also. and that just feeds into it. Somebody just came in yesterday and said they happened to watch a little bit of the news, and it was just nonstop fear for them. It just kept building up. So the first thing you have to do is get rid of the fear and the panic. Fear is not going to help you in anything. In any type of a fight, fear is going to hinder you. So if it's a fight for your health, it's going to hinder you also. So you have to get rid of the fear and replace that with something that can build your confidence and your faith up.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The fear is, it's not really going to do anything except keep you scared and drop your immune system capability, right? So we can get into the beyond that and just see what things we can do. So this is not the first pandemic that the world has experienced, and probably won't be the last. So, but the last one is not really in my memory at all. The last big one. So there is not really there's not really anything that I can pull into my own mind of how we got through this before. And I think that's true for a lot of people. So they maybe remember things like H1N1 and some things like that maybe they weren't directly affected in the United States from. So what can we learn from history? Because I know you have a vast knowledge of medical history, and I want to say it right. This was a Spanish influenza that was in
1918. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that was a big one. I mean, we have had those in our lifetime. We had the SARS, treated people during that time also. But the Spanish influenza epidemic of 1917, 1918 was a big one. The medical anthropologists have looked at the homeopathic physicians. These were MDs that practiced homeopathic medicine, had the best track record. And there's two main remedies, homeopathic remedies that come out of that. That was gelsemium and eupatorium. Gelsemium is a yellow jasmine. Eupatorium is a bone set, the plant. The plant was also used by conventional medical doctors to help heal, because remember, this was back when even the MDs used botanical medicine also.
Right.
So those were quite successful during that time. There are others that have been used now, and I'll probably go into a little bit of what can potentially work today to help somebody out.
Can you explain, maybe define for us, what is homeopathic medicine? Because I think that gets thrown around a lot as just natural remedies, but it's a specific type of a system of medicine that some of our listeners might not have really understand what that means.
Yes, homeopathic medicine is a very safe, practical medical system, considered by the National Institutes of Health as a complete medical system. It's used throughout India and Europe. Great Britain, the British royal family used homeopathy as their medical system. It is a very dilute, subtle medicine that just helps us get back in balance. And the thing is, it's individualized. You try to match the remedy to the person.
Right.
See, that's what's different here is in the type of medicine that we use. We'll use things generally to boost the immune system, but in the botanical medicine formulas, we try to shape the formula to the person. Mm-hmm. And in homeopathic medicine, we try to match the remedy to the person's symptom pattern that they have. So it becomes quite individualized instead of a one size fits all where we give everybody this, which does help a lot of people. But being specific is more precise and can stimulate the immune system in the body's innate ability to heal even better.
Right. So now you mentioned a couple of specific remedies, gelsemium and what was the second one that you said? Eupatorium. So you mentioned these two as being remedies that worked well in the Spanish flu. So how is that different? That's not as individualized for that. That's more looking at the symptoms generally to have somewhere to start.
Right. Yeah. There'll also be what's called a genus epidemicus, which is one that can work, overall, but it's still, you want to do it classically individualized. So with the symptom that we're seeing with coronavirus, for example, the person in Monroe County, they described it as feeling like they had a hangover.
Right? Okay. So Nux vomica.
Nux vomica. That's your hangover remedy. So Nux vomica has a dry cough also. And so that would be indicated for, without knowing any other symptoms that the person had, that would be a place to start at. So you have also your that's Nux Vomica, Nuxvomica. You can get it at Wegmans or health food store, anywhere that you want to get it at. The phosphorus is a top lung remedy with a cough in it. We use it for colds, also with an element of fear. If there's a lot of fear going on,
right,
phosphorus can help. It uses what's called a drainage remedy to help detoxify and cleanse the lungs. Also, a very gentle cleansing, but it's good for there. Bryonia. Brownie has a dry, painful cough. We use it quite a bit. Rumex crispus, that is your dock. You can use it as the plant. I mean, it's going to grow in your yard along the wood line somewhere. You can find that if you know your plants.
right.
So homeopathically, we use it for a dry cough that's triggered by like cold air. And a little tightening, get a little tightness right in here. At the first sign of anything, you want to take aconite.
Right.
Aconite in the pellets. So you feel like you may be catching something, aconite would be your first one to take. And sometimes that can help your body fight off anything that's coming. So that's aconite, ACONITE.
So you take that when you start to first feel the twinge of anything before
Correct.
you really know what it is. So it might be coronavirus. It might be your allergies. It could be any number of things. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. But before you know, before the symptoms really start revving up, then you take this aconite. And sometimes you just don't get any sicker, right? And sometimes it just kind of makes it a little bit more mild.
Correct. Yes, I've had a lot of patients that when they feel like you catch something, they'll take the aconite and it'll cut it. It's the same way some people use the one made by boron, oscillococcium.
Yes.
That's a big word. It's oscillococcium. And they would take a vial of that, and they feel that it helps them stop off, particularly the influenza. But aconite is generally indicated for the beginning of anything to try to stop it. Chamomile can be a hard, dry cough too, particularly in children or teeth in children. It can help out. They're a little whiny and clingy. Drosera is a dry, spasmodic cough. You can buy Drosera homeopathic and use it. And the way you would dose these, if you feel like you're getting anything, is you just take it's a little tube, a little amber or blue vial that you just pour like 3 or 4 of them into the lid and put them under your tongue. You're safe. An infant can take them. A pregnant woman can take them. I
just have to say, I usually have a remedy not too far away, and I have one here. So just quickly, I want to just show this. If I can pull one of these out of my purse here, I carry these with me. So these, if you get the boron brand, and there's other brands that are maybe similar. This one that I pulled out is Nux Vomica. I always carry this one with me.
Yes.
So we said it was a hangover remedy. I don't want people to think I'm hungover all the time, but it's also for overindulgence in food or just any kind of stomach upset, different symptoms. But I always carry this one because it's a good one for me. So this is it pulls apart like this, right?
Right.
So you've got a cap and a container here. And so what people don't understand, and I did the same thing when I first got one of these remedies like 20 something years ago, and I thought I would try homeopathy. I didn't know how to get anything out of it. So I was shaking the bottle and trying to get something out. Nothing would come out. The key is you turn it upside down with the cap down and you twist, right? So you just twist
Correct.
And you count. So I just count 1, 2, 3, and then they drop in. And then you can just take the thing here and open your mouth and pop it under your tongue and let them dissolve. But there is a little trick to it. It's not hard, but if you don't know that, you could have this vial for a long time and never get anything out of it. So I just want to point that out.
Can you show them how small the pellets are?
Let me see if I can. Yeah, I got 3 in there. Let's see if they're really tiny. And let's see. They are really, really tiny.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And
my son likes them because he thinks they're candy. So he's just like, he's happy when he is like, oh, I need medicine. Yay. And he gets happy about it.
Aconite has that element of fear in it also, and anxiety.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you're getting something, you have the fear and anxiety, you can use aconite to help you out also. And it is safe. It won't interact with anything or cause any harm.
Right.
You want to keep your immune system up also. And you want to make sure you're drinking water. You want to stay hydrated. Everything works better when you're hydrated. Your thinking is better. You want to still continue to do your exercise and movement.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, keep everything moving, get your lymphatic system moving, get your circulation going. Your immune system is stimulated through the exercise. You want to get out into nature as much as you can. Springtime is coming. It's time to get out into the woods, and the trees produce, like the forest bathing, the trees will produce phytoncides, which improve the immune system. You can actually increase natural killer cells in the body, relieve stress and anxiety. The same thing can happen around the water, not to mention the exercise. Even without walking, just sitting in there in nature at some point increases our immune function, which would be good. And you want to practice your breathing. And since the main thing that this hits is the lungs, you want to make sure that you're breathing. Just begin with diaphragmatic breathing. As you breathe in, your abdomen comes out. As you exhale, it comes in. So your diaphragm is rising and dropping and exercising your internal organs and moving your lymphatic system, but it's pulling in more air.
Right.
And so that's going to be important. And you want to make sure you're eating good. Eat foods that boost your immune function, your fresh fruits and veggies, whole grains and so forth. Now, a lot of people are looking at your supplements. We know that the South Koreans are using zinc in the remedies to help cure people with COVID-19.
Okay.
So you can take your zinc, usually it'll be like 30 milligrams. Sometimes it's with copper, but it's going to be hard to get right now because the same people buying toilet paper are buying zinc also.
Yeah, right. And all these remedies, really, right? I mean, there's, and I just real quick, to go back to the homeopathic remedies for a second, the bottle is going to tell you one thing about dosing.
Right.
And so when you buy a bottle, it's going to have a few things on there. It might not say anything what Dr. Moore has said that this is for. It's going to say something completely different because the FDA makes them write something on that label, right? But it's not limited to those things, and it might not say anything about what you're actually taking this remedy for. So you pick it up and you look at it and you say, oh, this is for, I don't even know what it might say, but it's not going to say what you're looking at it for. Listen to Dr. Moore. That bottle, is not, it's for many, many things because it's based on an individual. So it's not going to say your exact thing on the bottle, but that's where you need somebody to kind of help guide you through which remedy to take. It's also going to say take 5 tablets 3 times a day. I think they all say that 5 pellets 3 times a day. But what about the dosing is different than that? I mean, it's this, because we took every year we did a whole session, a whole weekend on posology about learning about how to dose things. So that's not something we're going to be able to really cover here essentially or extensively, but what is something somebody can start off with, because there is going to be a limited amount of things available for right now. So if it says 5, do they have to take 5 or can they take 1 or 2 or 3 or, what is the thought on that just in general? I mean, we're not going to tell anybody exactly what to take for that person. That's not the point of this summit or this interview, but just to give them an idea of that what it says on the bottle may not be, it's not going to go as quickly because they're not going to need to take as much possibly.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, if things are selling out due to panic, and it may be hard to get. So if you do have a bottle, for example, of aconite or Drosera or phosphorus or Nux vomica, you can extend that out. So we'll just recommend generally, I do, 3 pellets under the tongue, and depending on, how many times I may dose that. And that depends on the individual. But if we were to say right now, in general, without knowing what anybody's going through or experiencing, I would do it probably three times a day.
Yeah.
Until your symptoms may change. I do make the remedies, so we're not going to run out of remedies. I'm going to have them for decades to come. I have it to make them. Yeah. But yes, that would be a good way. And you could go down to, one pellet, a day, just extend it. If you're using it for your whole family,
right.
Again, your family can experience COVID-19 completely different. If somebody, gets it, most people are going to experience it like a cold. And so you can individualize those symptoms. One person may need Nux vomica, another may need phosphorus, another may have a dry bark and cough, and may need spongia tosta. It's going to be different. But if one bottle, you can get it around, you can make that last for a while. If you do one, it still has the same effectiveness.
Right. Great. Sorry, I just derailed your whole whatever you were talking about a
No, that's
minute
all right.
ago.
No, that's good.
But I want to make sure because I realize a lot of people have maybe are hearing about homeopathy for the first time and have never used these bottles or dosed a remedy. So
yeah. So yeah, so we were diet. We were talking about diet also, right?
yep, diet, and you were
Which
talking
is a
about
part of
zinc.
homeopathic medicine.
You
Yeah.
were on zinc, I think.
Zinc. Yeah, you can get your zinc. If you can't buy your zinc, you can get it out of your nuts, your seeds, your eggs, your meats, and so forth. So get your pumpkin seeds. I ate pumpkin seeds this morning on my granola with blueberries, right? So I got me some bioflavonoids, some vitamin C, some phytonutrients, and I got zinc out of that.
Right.
And your nuts and seeds can be helpful with that. They can store up for a long period of time for those that may need to store it. Now all the nuts and seeds are going to disappear.
Right. Yeah, watch what you say. There could be a run on those now.
Right. The garlic. A lot of people use garlic. There is the story of during the Spanish influenza epidemic of 1917, 1918 of the Italian village that was famous for the elephant garlics, and they would eat them. And it would, we know that garlic is antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal,
right,
antisocial too. Sometimes
right. You might lose a few friends.
Yeah. But it's easy. I've had a lot of patients who have been immunocompromised for multiple reasons, and they eat garlic to keep their immune system up.
Right.
And it can help.
So when you say eat garlic, do you mean chew on a clove? Can I bake it? What form should I be using garlic?
Yeah, you can. Any way that you can eat it is going to be good.
Okay. So it doesn't change it if I cook it. It's still effective.
Yeah, you can slightly roast it. You can put it in one of these garlic roasters. You can just put it on there with your toast and broil it. You can put it into your food and still eat it. Some people can't eat it a clove raw. It'll upset their stomach. It's hot. It's strong.
Yeah, kind of burns when you chew on a raw clove.
Yeah. It can be hard sometimes.
I have tried it before because I thought I better see what this is like, and it's not for me maybe. But I do love it roasted.
Yeah, but if you eat it raw, it will keep people past 6 feet from you. So
yeah, you'll accomplish the social distancing we all need right now. Yeah.
So and that village did not experience any of the Spanish flu, where others around them did, and they were famous for these big elephant garlics.
Huh.
Lysine is good. Your vitamin C and lysine. That was Linus Pauling, the double Nobel laureate. His thing was vitamin C and lysine. Lysine boosts immune system. Vitamin C. In fact, the Chinese in the government treatment of COVID-19 are using vitamin C along with other things, but they are using doses of vitamin C.
So you're talking about that L-lysine I've heard of people use if they have a cold sore. They take L-lysine. Is that the one you're talking about? It's like a pill form?
Yep, your cold sore is a virus.
Virus, right.
Simplex virus quite often. And so it has other antiviral properties also, as does the garlic, as does the zinc. Your vitamin A, beta carotene, you can get that out of your yellow and your orange. And
so I can eat sweet potatoes and carrots?
Yes, you can.
All right.
Squash, yeah.
Did you say rocks?
No, not rocks, squash.
Oh, squash, okay.
Rocks are a little hard. You may get some zinc out of some rocks.
Yeah, there's got to be some benefit to that if you could chew them.
Little calcium, magnesium, but times are hard when you're eating rocks. So yes,
I'll say.
You can try and get corn up on a rock, but that'll be
Let's try not to get there. Yeah.
So some of these things you may not be able to get here shortly because people are buying them up. I mean, you said you went on this one site and tried to look at these zinc and these other things, and they're gone. They're back ordered.
They're back ordered.
The companies are out of them, so it's hard to get right now. Again, if we weren't panicking, we'd be able to get them on a regular basis, but everybody's hoarding them.
Yes.
So and we use botanical medicine, herbs. Again, eupatorium, which is the bone set. It'll have a fever, it'll have the aches it's indicated for. The flu-like symptoms. It was my dad's favorite herb was bone set. It's pretty nasty tasting, but it can definitely help.
It's beautiful watching it grow. Is that the one we saw when we go on the herb walk? We'd see them in the swamps. It's like a swampy area. Is that bone set?
Yep, they grow by the water, and it's
And there's another one that's like a twin to it. bone set, and what's the other one?
Yeah, there's Eupatorium purpurea,
Yeah.
right? Which is a taller purple place. It'll grow, excuse me, near the water also. And then the Eupatorium perfoliatum, which is the bone set.
Okay. Yeah.
And that can be used for, bone hurting, but it's the aches that you get as your immune system is fighting off the virus.
Yeah.
It releases these toxins as your body destroys it, which causes you to have these aches. And so that comes along with flu and other viruses. And Eupatorium is indicated for that. Elderberry, if you're using elderberry, is very, very good. You're not going to be able to get it now, though, because it's probably sold out or back ordered. And it's
I
not
was surprised.
growing.
I did still see some of that on the shelves yesterday. I was actually surprised by how much was still sitting on the shelves of elderberry products, because now you can get gummies and pills and tinctures and syrup, and they have all different forms of it.
Right. Your basic echinacea, the Echinacea angustifolia, is antiviral.
Right.
So the specific affinity for viruses, coronaviruses. And you can take that to boost your immune system, to do it preventively and also to help fight off. The Chinese have been using. So I studied classical Chinese medicine. We did a lot with the herbal formulas, focusing on that.
Yep.
So you learn the single herbs and how they're used, then the herb pairs, how they work together, then the classical formulas, how they've been used over centuries, include during epidemic and times, and then the modification, so you can modify it to somebody individually. So one of my teachers, which happens to be one of my teacher's teachers, was in Wuhan the last week, and sent back that the symptoms that they're experiencing, and then also the herbs that they were using included, some that we use here, the Lonicerae, which is Jinyanhua, the Forsythia, the honeysuckle, which grows around here.
Forsythia is going to be in bloom soon.
Yep, and that is that is one is also a specific that's been used for the coronavirus right now in China today through traditional Chinese medicine they're using.
Is that something? So a lot of people have Forsythia bushes in their yard. Is that something that is there something they could do with that, or should they get it from somewhere else?
Well, usually you get it from somewhere else, but if you have it there, if you know how to make infusions or teas and tinctures, you can make it yourself and have it.
Now, is that the flower you would be using, or the bark?
Yes.
The flower.
Yeah. Then I'll use one that I learned from my dad. It's called sand spur. It is a very sharp seed on a grass that hurts if you step on it. It sticks into your foot.
Yeah.
And so that's an antiviral that's used. And I've used formulas. I have a formula that I call upper respiratory tract formula. And it'll have herbs in it like Grindelia or Popular, which is the populus that it's in bud now. So I just did a little, I think I did a tweet and a Facebook on the Populus tremuloides, which is the cottonwood. So the bud comes out now, and it's a very sticky bud. It was used for coughs.
Huh.
But it's what I call a guiding herb. The Grindelia is called gumweed, Popular, and it's very sticky. I mean, it'll stick all over your hand, and when you start making it and working with it, it'll take a long time to get it off your hands. But it holds the herbs. It guides them into your upper respiratory tract, your bronchioles up in here.
Lets them stick for a little bit, so they
hang
can do
around
their
a little
work.
bit. And that's exactly what they do there.
Yeah.
And so I've used those. I use those, during the SARS time also. Yeah. And so I modified it, the upper respiratory tract formula for that. And then I have one now, I call it Cover, COVER, just to cover you. And it has herbs in it here that a lot of my patients are taking now. We're taking it also.
What about what Golden Seal comes to mind for upper respiratory stuff? Is that something that would be beneficial during this time?
Yes, Golden Seal can be used. Golden Seal, a lot of times people will combine Echinacea and Golden Seal together. Right. Golden Seal is a very, very good herb. It focuses more on an antibacterial aspect, but it also is antiviral. But it has a particular affinity to the mucous membranes. Right. So anything that's involved in here with the mucous membranes, it can help with. Yeah. So I also use that in the formulas also. Golden Seal is good.
Yeah, great. What else? I feel like
What else?
what else? We've given people a lot of information, maybe a lot of things they haven't heard of before. So obviously this is a starting point to get more information and get, just kind of have some ideas of what you can do. And obviously if you do some research, not just what you're seeing online, but maybe some books and some, Dr. Moore has a classical formulas book. I'm not sure where that's available. You could order it directly from Dr. Moore, or just seeing a practitioner that has some experience in these areas. What else can we say?
Well, yeah, if it were to summarize what we just said is,
Yeah.
I would make sure you're practicing your breathing, keep your lungs healthy, drinking water, make sure you get sleep and rest.
That's so important.
Keep your immune system up. No need to wake up stressing about this.
Right.
Eat good food, get out in nature, try to eat fresh fruits and veggies, grains, whole grains, beans, legumes, and so forth. You can get those into your diet to help your immune system stay up. If you have access to zinc, take you at least, one zinc tablet or capsule a day. Vitamin C, if you can get 500 milligrams in 3 times a day, it'll help you out.
What about vitamin D? You said A. What about D?
Take your vitamin D too.
Okay. Yeah.
Get
some sunshine when it's out.
Yeah, when it's out, but there's not a lot up here where we're at by the angle the sun hits. You're going to need to take your vitamin D3 anyway. So you're going to get 2,000 to 5,000 international units in a day.
Right.
You can do that. Your lysine, if you take 500 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day, that'll help keep your immune system up also. Again, eat for your vitamin A. If you can't get hold of that, eat your yellow and orange fruits and veggies. They'll have that in it. All your other phytonutrients, your blueberries, your blackberries, your red raspberries, anything that comes in season, they'll be good. Your nuts and seeds for your zinc, make sure you eat those. Homeopathy, I would have a few on hand, Nux vomica, aconite, maybe a phosphorus, get those and keep them on hand. At some point, I would start building up my home kit to keep myself. And this here may be just a prep for the next time that we get ready, or anything that happens at home. So we're able to use it, with our children. I use it with patients and patients' children, but we use it with our children. If they get something, we'll use the homeopathic medicine, try to help them out. It doesn't take a lot to learn it. It takes a lot to learn how to use it well, but to be able to use it for home remedies, it isn't that difficult. And if it becomes completely pandemic and you can't get in to see anybody or get in anywhere to stay, you're going to be taking care of one another. And then
I think studying with you, Dr. Moore, I'd be pretty good in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll help out. Yeah, we're prepared for that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get all holed up and ready and have everything we need.
Yeah.
And use your herbs. I mean, if you have access to herbs, if you have your tinctures, your formulas, you use those. I use the one that I call Cover, which is a formula that I have. And then fear. You got to get rid of that. For God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. So you got power to help boost yourself up, believe in the innate ability of your body to heal itself, help that happen. Love your neighbors, help them out, and love yourself. You can't take care of anybody else if you're not taking care of yourself.
So true.
And a sound mind. So a sound mind does not have fear in it, doesn't have the anxiety in it, doesn't have worry about what can happen. You're prepared, you have things that you can do to help yourself out. And if you do get something, you can go through to the other side to help out, to get better on the other side of this. It's like going through a cold or a virus or a flu, that you get better on it.
Exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we all are just in this moment right now and we're alive and, different degrees of healthy, but we're all here. And so as we're here, we can get through this all together. And I think that's a big point too, is just helping each other. So one person's got a stockpile of a remedy, another person doesn't have any. If you can help each other out and spread the information and just help each other in these times, I think that's what we should all be doing all the time anyway. So
absolutely. Yeah.
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 Take
care of one another. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But you got to take care of yourself. So I think a big thing that we kind of skimmed over a little bit is sleep. And, You got to have that. You got to have that rest so that you have that sound mind so you can make rational decisions. And losing sleep is not going to help. So if you can get some good sleep and be able to think clearly on how to take care of yourself and your family and your loved ones, we're all going to be just A-okay.
Right. So, I mean, you have a few things just in there is, moms taking care of the families.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of being awake and helping out too. So you need to take care of each other or have some type of a support network to do that. And then also the caregivers, people who are providing health care, as they start getting overwhelmed and it starts, increasing, the hospital care and the care outside the hospital.
Yeah.
They have to be taking care of themselves too, or, we have to be helping them take care of themselves.
Right.
So it is a community effort, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. I think we covered a lot, and I hope this was helpful to a lot of people. And anything else you want to tell us? How can people find you if they want to contact you or just see more of what you do?
Well, we have the webpage. I think there's a Classical Formulas webpage. And then there's a Dr. Les Moore webpage that
LESMOORE.
That's it. LESMOORE. And actually you put that together for us, I think.
did. Yeah.
And the phone is 585-267-7339 in Bushnell's Bays, and you can look me up there and find me. And then otherwise, everybody, be well and do well and be prosperous.
Thank you so much, Dr. Moore.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Have a great day.
You too.